Hi, my name is Sanna, and since I was a little kid, I've been totally obsessed with the moon. And when I was a little girl, I always positioned my bed next to the window so I could see it shining. But this interest was something I always kept it to myself. I still positioned my bed next to the window, but I never really stopped and reflected on why I like space so much. And then, in 2010, I started to study at the advertising school, where suddenly I had this cell phone with all these notifications popping right up in my face, and a filled email box with all these unread emails. And needless to say, my stress level was at an all-time high. And that was where I met Anna.
I'm Anna, and I started every morning of middle school with watching old episodes of Star Wars. Because space has always been present in my life, however, in the shadow of other ambitions. And when I started studying at this high-performance school, needless to say, a nerdy interest on the side got little attention next to upcoming deadlines and never-ending to-do lists. But that's when I met Sanna.
So, one day, with this looming presentation adding to my stress and anxiety, I felt I needed a short break. So I picked up my phone to watch some NASA TV for a second, just to zoom out. And then suddenly, I felt someone tapping on my shoulder. I turned around and I saw Anna's smiling face, showing me her earring shaped as full moons.
So, what to do with this shared passion? We realized that we'd found a common ground where we could take some distance from reality, to disconnect for a bit. So we started an association called Space Appreciation Society, a group which turned into a forum where we could connect and share ideas and news and thoughts about space. Because as we realized, sharing things with other people makes it that much more rewarding.
So we started to transform this passion for space into much more than just words and thoughts. But things haven't always turned out as planned. For instance, last summer, the planet Venus made a transit across the sun, and the transit was possible to see through a telescope on the early hours of the morning. So me and Anna decided to meet at the observatorium in Stockholm at 4 a.m. just to catch a glimpse of that transit. But when it was our turn, a church tower blocked the entire line of sight. But still, the next best thing we could do was to go inside and watch the whole thing live from Hawaii on a huge screen with all these other people around us. And we realized that sharing things with other people makes it much more rewarding.
So what is it about space that makes us so fascinated by it? One late night last November, we took a well-deserved break from our studies, and after sharing a few drinks, we started talking about space and attempting to pinpoint what it is about it that makes us so fascinated. And that's when we realized that space is our go-to place to get perspective on what's important. Space isn't a way for us to disconnect. It's a reminder of how connected we all are. And after all, we're all on this planet together and a part of something bigger than the tiny things that gives us worry each day.
And a few weeks ago, it was this Geek Girl meetup in Stockholm. And that was an amazing event, an amazing weekend with all these smart ladies captured under the same roof. And there was where we met Cecilia from Umbilical Design and Karin, who you already met from Spaceport Sweden. And they told us about this competition, how to advertise future space travel on Kiruna airports.
So we started thinking, people traveling by plane are already in a place where you're kind of disconnected from reality. And one of the many perks of flying is sitting next to the airport window, looking down on the ground below. But when you arrive at the airport, you're quickly pulled back into reality and you're on your way out of there fairly quickly. So our installation on the airport needs to be eye-catching, making the travelers pause and reflect on something. As well as for any great communications idea, it needs to provide its target group with some sort of value. And space travel can seem like a far-fetched idea, which can be hard to relate to for the average traveler. But the feeling of calmness and distance from the everyday stress is something that we all can relate to, and something that the passing travelers recently experienced.
So, to our solution. the most beautiful thing. And this is a mood board, just to get you in the right feeling. But it's basically a huge space shuttle window placed on the floor at the airports, where you can see a huge Earth slowly moving in real time right under the feet of the passengers on Kiruna airports. And we place the window on the floor just to communicate and get them to feel the unique part of being in space, which is zero gravity, that shifts your perspective, which makes walls into ceiling and to floors at the same time.
Because astronauts witness that the most beautiful thing about being up in space is looking down on Earth, describing the calm feeling of everything falling into place. And that feeling is exactly what the thought of space gives us in times of stress. Like when we can shrug our shoulders when things doesn't really turn out the way we planned them to, or to help us cope with the fact that we have a few days to present and prepare us for a TEDx presentation, because we're all a part of something bigger than the everyday life and the stress of those unanswered emails and upcoming deadlines. And life matters, or those things matters a little less once you're reminded of just that you are a part of something bigger. So imagine getting to experience that feeling on a flight to space, sharing the wondrous experience of a new perspective with a group of other people. That is the feeling we would like the visitors of Kiruna Airport to experience. And that is something we know that Spaceport Sweden is to be a part of. And that is the feeling we would like our solution to give to the travelers, because that feeling is the perfect way to advertise the future of space travel with. A new perspective, a shared experience, and the feeling that we're in it together.
So, to end this presentation, we would like to borrow a few words from Neil deGrasse Tyson, who's not only a huge inspiration for us, he's also a person who explains exactly what we're trying to communicate in less than 2 minutes.
The most astounding fact is the knowledge that the atoms that comprise life on Earth, the atoms that make up the human body, are traceable to the crucibles that cooked light elements into heavy elements in their core under extreme temperatures and pressures. These stars, the high-mass ones among them, went unstable in their later years. They collapsed and then exploded, scattering their enriched guts across the galaxy. Guts made of carbon, nitrogen, oxygen, and all the fundamental ingredients of life itself. These ingredients become part of gas clouds that condense, collapse, form the next generation of solar systems, stars with orbiting planets. And those planets now have the ingredients for life itself. So that when I look up at the night sky, and I know that, yes, we are part of this universe, we are in this universe, but perhaps more important than both of those facts is that the universe is in us. When I reflect on that fact, I look up. Many people feel small because they're small and the universe is big, but I feel big because my atoms came from those stars. There's a level of connectivity. That's really what you want in life. You want to feel connected. You want to feel relevant. You want to feel like you're a participant in the goings-on of activities and events around you. That's precisely what we are, just by being alive.
Thank you.